pleasure to introduce the Alumna Achievement Award, which recognizes a woman law graduate of St. Thomas whose achievements exemplified the ideals of leadership, professionalism, hard work, commitment to excellence, and respect for others. As Lisa Brabbett mentioned, we have given this award away for 10 years, and the St. Thomas alumna community has grown. This year, we had a robust field of nominations, 16 folks to choose from for our committee. Truly, the Fergan is strong with St. Thomas.
Don't touch anything on there.
Very excited to nominate others and recognize their achievements. With that, it is my pleasure to introduce Lottie Tolzman, who nominated this year's honoree, Judge Mariana Vielma, to have her tell us a little bit more about Judge Vielma's achievements.
Thank you, Nicolette. Good morning, everyone. I am pleased to share with you some excerpts from my nomination of Judge Mariana Vielma. Judge Mariana Vielma truly lives and breathes our UST law mission, personally and professionally, through her faith, core values, professionalism, and community leadership. Since I've known Ms. Vielma, she truly exemplifies and lives by the core values of public service and community service. As a fellow immigrant, I know the struggles that she and her family has faced to this day. From picking potatoes in Idaho, to working at Kentucky Fried Chicken, to being a paralegal for several years, to being a public defender, a prosecutor, and now currently a judge for Adams County in Colorado. Many people don't know this, but she's the 5th Latina woman in history to serve in this role. Adams County is 41% Hispanic, and she's the only judge in the county who reflects this community. As you'll learn, Mar has worked hard to get where she is today and did not get there from a life of privilege and access. And because she came from such humble beginnings, she truly understands all who enters her courtroom, from defendants, victims, witnesses, family members, and those in the legal profession. She ensures that each person is treated with dignity and respect, including children who are accompanying their parents or relatives. But beyond what you ever see in a resume or her title is the amazing and wonderful human being and friend that Mariana is. She's one of the kindest, giving, generous, authentic, supportive, empathetic, and selfless person that I know. She carries no ego and is driven and motivated by transformative change and social justice. She truly has the heart of a servant and constantly gives back to her family, friends, community, and our legal profession. Her action speaks louder than words, and she has truly exemplified our law school mission of integrating faith and reason in the search for truth through a focus on morality and social justice. I cannot think of anyone more humbling, compassionate to receive this award. And with that, I'm pleased to announce Judge Mariana Vielma for the 2020 University of St. Thomas School of Law Alumnae Achievement Award.
Okay, all right. So thank you. I can't say thank you enough. But first, I'd like to take opportunity to acknowledge and thank my mother, who is able to appear remotely from Idaho today, thanks to the help of my nephew, Martin. She is the person who instilled in me by example, a solid faith foundation and an unwavering belief that all things work together for good for those who live that faith through actions. So thank you, Mamacita, for giving me the greatest gifts that I could ever ask for without doing a thing to deserve them. Unconditional love, an example of faith and humility and perseverance, and raising me to believe that I could do anything that I set my stubborn heart and mind to do. I can't thank you enough. And I want to give a special shout out to the classmates from the class of 2005 who are here today. Thank you for being here. I love you and miss you all. And I really am eternally grateful for our shared Fergan. Thank you to the Women's Networking Committee for this honor, and for to thank Lottie Tolzman for the nomination and your kind words. It truly is an honor just to be nominated, knowing that so many incredible women have graduated from St. Thomas Law and have since dedicated so many of their gifts and talents, not just to the practice of law, but to identifying inequities in the legal system and challenging the status quo and leading in a way that demands justice from each of us as lawyers. I'm so grateful that my path to leadership as a lawyer started at St. Thomas, not just with the knowledge of the law and the legal system, But equally important were those daily conversations with my classmates, professors, and staff about how to account for faith, reason, morality, and equal social justice in asking a question that I've asked myself almost every day for the last 15 years since graduating. What does justice require of me today? Now, as a judge, I often have to ask that question many, many times in one day. While in law school, if anyone would have told me then that I would go on to do some of the legal work and professional projects and community projects that I've been blessed to do over the course of my career, I never would have believed it. I remember thinking it would only be by the grace of God and his mercy that I would even make it to graduate. I was telling Lottie today about, I don't know if it was our first midterm or final exam in contracts with Professor Schultz, and reading her essay question involving Garfield and Odie and being so nervous and freaked out that it took me at least 5 minutes to begin even writing. The imposter syndrome was so real on many days. Girls like me just didn't grow up to be lawyers. I remember as a kid working alongside my family in the fields of Colorado in the summers, just dreaming to go to college so that I could help create a better opportunity for my family. And I just wanted my family to be treated as equal members of society. And not getting to finish high school made that dream seem next to impossible. But by the time I arrived at St. Thomas Law, I knew one thing for sure, that grown girl was called to serve. And that even in all the days I didn't feel like I fit in, it was still exactly where I was supposed to be. By that time, I had seen many inequities in the legal system, and I knew that I didn't just want to be one of those lawyers who complained about the inequities in the system and the profession, but I wanted to be a lawyer who used her knowledge of the law, not to change the world, but to make a positive difference for people in my life. Our profession is a service profession, and I knew I was called to serve. And attending law school prepares your head to serve, but it was the constant challenges of the St. Thomas mission and a willingness to incorporate my faith and values into my practice and professional priorities that truly prepared my heart to serve. Even through the tough times, like when I didn't pass the bar exam on the first try, or when I didn't get what I thought was my dream job. Those days were never the end of the world. They were always the beginning of a redirected and brighter path. The Colorado Attorney Oath of Admission, the oath that I took, in part says, I will use my knowledge of the law for the betterment of society and the improvement of the legal system. I will never reject, from any consideration personal to myself, the cause of the defenseless or oppressed. So just as my classmates and I questioned how to incorporate the law school's mission into our legal education, many days as a lawyer, I have read my oath of admission to guide me in that call to serve and to ask myself, what do justice and the promises I made in my oath require of me today? So simply answering that question has led me to years of service beyond just my role as a lawyer in a courtroom, but to do my part to improve the system for those we serve and those with whom we serve. So while the imposter syndrome has been and is still real on so many days, I've never questioned the call to serve. And once I opened my heart and will to follow whatever path I was led down, even in uncertain directions I never would have imagined for myself. My faith and the support of so many people around me have lifted and carried me through each day. I never take for granted that I stand here today on the shoulders of so many women who have sacrificed and paved the way for me to do so much, including accepting this award today. So to those law students who are here today, don't ever let anyone tell you who you are and what you cannot do, or that you have to do your work in a traditional way. You know who you are. You are called to serve. Take time to identify your values. Know that vulnerability is a strength, and be open to the legal career path that you might not even imagine for yourself. In the words of the late, great Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and may she rest in eternal peace, she said, if you are going to be a lawyer and just practice your profession, well, you have a skill, so you're very much like a plumber. If you want to be a true professional, you will do something outside yourself, something to repair the tears in our community, something to make life a little better for people less fortunate than you. And I look forward to celebrating you in the future, in hearing your stories of your path to leadership, and continuing to improve the legal profession and those in your communities that you serve and that you serve with. So thank you very much.